You can't see stress. And I do think stress really messes you up a lot. And sometimes there are, like, I do think, okay, so one, I'll share something, I'll share two things personal. So you're in Spain. You're now family man. Is that right? What's going on, Mishka?
I've been a family man for like 8 years, but
sure.
Like on my part, that's a really good question. You asked me like just before we started recording, like, are you slowing down? That seems the case. How would I put it? Like, I think it's really important to have this phase because my kids are going to be this age for only a very short period of time.
Yeah.
I want to think they need me. Let's put it that way.
And for the audience,
they need their mother more.
Can you tell us how old your kids are?
I have two daughters. One is 4 and the other one is 8. So they're optimally 4.5 years away, just like in the Sapiens book. So.
You're like, those ages are magical. Yeah, you want to.
Yeah, and now like they're all about, being with daddy and so forth. So this is my phase where I'm working less. Before I had kids, I worked 6 days in a week on the regular, and that was my cheat code. It's like I just work 1 day more than anybody else, and that was essentially how Deconstructor Fun was built.
All right. So maybe we could tee this up for the audience out there. So we are back. The OG podcasters, myself, Joseph Kim, Mishka Katkoff from Deconstructor Fun. Today, I think we're going to do, I think the last time we recorded something together, we did what we call 3x3. So just bringing up 3 topics on my side, 3 topics on your side. I think we're going to go 2x2 this time, Mishka. And
I think we're going to just play it by ear, right?
Yeah, all right.
I love doing a podcast with you, first and foremost, because I know you for probably a decade. Right?
Getting old, yeah.
I met you in San Francisco in 2016. Almost a decade.
Okay.
And secondly, because you're really good at podcasting. I mean, you run your own podcast.
Appreciate
you're the
that.
OG of YouTube podcasts.
I don't know if I'm that good, but appreciate the compliment. I'll take it.
You are. Just the amount of reps you've done, that's insane. And then thirdly is because you are not working in a corporation and you are very authentic. You can say what you feel, and that makes, I think, into a good conversation. Maybe because I'm in, as you say, the slower phase of life and trying to figure out this work and life balance. So I've written some of the stuff. I was thinking about you and the things that I want to understand that would help me to understand what I want to do, how much effort I want to put in. So without further ado, I wrote this.
Okay.
Modern hustle culture rewards relentless output. More hours, more goals, more growth. But what starts as ambition often morphs into avoidance. For many high performers, work becomes a place to hide from discomfort, broken relationships, unsatisfying identities, or fear of stillness. Now, again, I'm not writing about you. I'm writing about in general. So the question for you, Joseph or Joe, is you spent many months in Bangalore. You're right now in Bangalore, away from home, really pouring yourself into LILA games. Do you ever feel like work becomes a way to escape other parts of life, even unintentionally?
Probably unintentionally that's there. Since I've been here for about a month now, and in this last month, I've had 1 call with my wife, 2 calls with my daughter, and that's about it. So to the point about, I'm not intentionally avoiding my family, but there are, I would say that when you are locked in on work and then there's so much stress and problems and there's been some shit going down, just to be real. Then, the family stuff, it's almost out of my mind. And I do think that's a problem. I don't think that that's healthy. But I also think different people are going to view their objectives in life in different ways, right? So for me, I actually, I don't know, I have this belief in suffering as
Yes.
somebody who like I read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning once every 5 years or so, and kind of like the belief that I don't think you live a full life without suffering. So there's like that suffering aspect, but then also I think everyone in life searches for something. I think that and I don't know, maybe I can just speak and at the risk of being a little bit chauvinistic, but I believe all men have kind of this hole in them, and they try to fill it with different things, with purpose in some cases, with I don't know, whatever, with whether it's girlfriends or with alcoholism or something. But for me, in my experience, there's different objectives and goals that people will have trying to fill that hole. For me, I'm trying to fill it with an objective, and I've at least told myself that trying to build this company will create something meaningful and valuable. At least that's what I've told myself. Mm-hmm. And maybe that is how I rationalize not spending more time with my family. But I would say I feel the cost of it, for sure. It's not like, I'm not unaware that there is a cost for all the time I spend at work and for doing what I'm doing. And I will say, I do question it. Now, when you're awake at night and you're trying to sleep and you think, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm human too, right? I think about it, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't met anyone who can grind as much as I do, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
So have you ever thought about what's the difference between suffering and sacrifice? Do you feel like one leads to another?
I think they're related, but I don't think they're the same thing. Right. So like, sacrifice would mean that there's like a trade-off that like for me in this case, I'm giving up time with my family. Like I used to, like when my kids were young, I spent a lot of time teaching them stuff like math and things like that. So they got really advanced. And then I haven't spent time with them like at all on helping them develop. So my daughter, I've spent almost no time with her. I started to, but then I stopped. So the sacrifice there would be that I've traded, what I feel, which is like trying to develop my kids and things like that for work. Suffering is just kind of like the pain you feel from going through hard times. And I actually, and for me, I view suffering in a better way, because I do think that when you suffer, when there are these problems and challenges, and when there's this conflict and tension, that generally, in my opinion, good things happen. Like by working through those problems, you're able to come up with solutions, you're able to have a deeper understanding of different kinds of problems and things like that. So I would say, for me, suffering is, in the extreme, obviously suffering sucks and it's bad, but the general point of having some suffering in your life for growth and development, I think, is good. Sacrifice can be sucky.
Yeah, but sacrifice is intentional, because sometimes people take the suffering because they think, look, I'm not putting words in your mouth or any meaning, but you would say, hey, I'm doing this sacrifice of being months at a time in Bangalore, right? It's away from my family, it's away from the things that I love and I want to be doing, but it's a sacrifice, because if I do this right, then I will make it right with my family, because the company will be successful and that will have many, financial benefits and so forth that will then unlock these things. So it's sort of it's a sacrifice, even though neither is guaranteed. But do you kind of get into a position where you feel where sometimes you would feel that in order to be good at something or, have a positive result, you have to suffer. Like, is that the sort of a mental model?
I actually like the suffering and sacrifice involved with what I'm doing now. I haven't really like considered, well, this is gonna pay off financially later, so that's what's gonna make it up to my family. I haven't even thought about that at all. I thought more about the thing that's on my mind is, can I create something valuable and important? And the story that I've told myself is that the sacrifice I'm making is because I am working on something valuable and important. And the moment that, if I were to feel that wasn't happening, then I would feel really shitty. And sometimes I do feel really shitty.
Web stores. You've seen what good looks like, but have you seen great? AppCharge is the direct-to-consumer platform backed by the likes of Supercell and built by monetization pros from Moonactive, Playtika, Huge Games, and others. People who know the difference. AppCharge powers over $500 million in transaction a year for top studios, optimizing every detail. Deeply personalized web store offers custom-made design, industry-leading monetization features, in-game payments, SDK, and more. 70% of top grossing games already have a web store, but the ones scaling fastest, they're doing it with AppCharge. Learn more at appcharge.com. Attention app and game developers, are you ready to unlock the secrets behind the world's top performing apps and games? With Sensor Tower, you get the ultimate competitive edge, whether it's breaking into new markets, fine-tuning your UA strategies, or boosting monetization. Dive into data like never before, track global trends across app stores, analyze market-leading in-app purchase and in-app ad strategies, and benchmark your performance with real-time insight. The best part, Sensor Tower doesn't just deliver data, it helps you turn it into action. With intuitive tools and expert analysis, it's everything you need to make smarter, faster decisions. Thousands of app and game studios, from indie creators to global giants, trust Sensor Tower to help them win. So why not you? Start your free trial today at sensortower.com. That is sensortower.com. Yeah, it's normal. I think it's important to ask you these type of questions because
Sure.
people probably only see the other side of you making the sacrifice, of you suffering, and you pushing through it and kind of motivating yourself to put that effort, but they don't see or hear or think, because they don't see or hear you self-doubting, you wondering whether this suffering makes sense. They don't kind of maybe understand that still happens. You just don't talk about it. And I think that's an important side of it. And kind of related to that, like you talked about your kids, you have 3 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife and a nice, beautiful house in the Bay Area. Haven't met your kids, haven't met your wife, beautiful couple. What do you wish your kids would learn from seeing you suffer for your vision?
Well, I would love for my kids to pick a problem and go through, because I actually do think suffering is good. So having like some level of suffering, not too much, but to pick a problem and do something where they're creating something valuable, doing something important in life, whatever problem that they choose, right? So and I would say a lot of the conversations I have with my kids now is trying to figure out what they're interested in and encouraging them to like find something that they feel, some kind of affinity to, so that they can start, because whatever it is, if it's like, I think microplastics are a bad thing, I want to try to solve that problem, then I can try and help them move into a direction where they can try and work on that problem. That's kind of how I view my relationship with my kids right now, but it's a little different. And I think I have 2 older boys, 15 and 13. Honestly, they're kind of at an age where I don't think they think their dad's cool, I haven't even talked to them at all since I've been here.
Yeah.
It's only my daughter that misses me, and she'll send me texts and things like that. So
That's super nice.
yeah. So I think it's always the case. Daughters are the best until they become teenagers, and then I think it flips, right? But for right now, she's still.
They say boys are difficult for the first 12 years, and daughters are difficult for after the first 12
right.
years.
Right. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at now. But,
And so if you're one of your sons or your daughter would come in and say, Dad, I want to move to another country, preferably third world country, grind for 5 years on a startup, would you encourage them to do that?
I think that I would encourage them to travel. I mean, that's something that for me has opened my eyes to a lot of things. I think I think a lot of people in the U.S., once they travel, their perspective on life changes a lot, especially when you travel to a country where there's a lot of, disparities in terms of income and where people are not living the best life. And then it's like, oh.
Like San Francisco.
yeah. So I'll just have them go to San Francisco. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would have them travel for perspective. But what I would probably say is if they wanted to go to a third world country for 5 years, I'd probably just tell them, go there for 3 to 6 months first, and then see what happens. But I also think like sometimes us as Westerners have these kind of preconceived notions about people and things, and that may not be true. Like even me, right? I came to India with this kind of like, I don't know, this perspective that I felt like there are, and I don't know, maybe it's maybe I don't know what people think about this, but I'm just gonna say what I think, and people can judge me how they want.
When you came in. Yeah, of
so
course. They do that without saying.
Yeah. So judge me negatively if you want, but like I kind of came to India with this notion that there were going to be all these poor people who were limited in terms of opportunity, but they were really good people, and if you just gave them the opportunity, that that's all they were missing. And so like this, I don't know, maybe
like charity organization.
this savior complex or whatever, coming into India for the first couple of years. And I tried to like give a lot of people opportunities, trust, and things of that nature. But then I think what I didn't realize is that when you're the kind of people that have worked out better here are actually not the really, really poor people who don't have a full education, who don't have opportunities. It's the people who are more educated and who have had strong parenting. And I think if you're poor and you don't have a lot of opportunities and you were raised to be very transactional, you're probably gonna, that's how you're thinking. I'm not saying it's their fault, but that's just a reality of life, right? If you're just trying to survive day to day, and you see an opportunity or you see something, and you can steal or you can lie or you can do whatever. I just think that the notion I had that all these poor people are really good-hearted, they just lack opportunity, and I guess I have realized that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, it's quite typical for people to see themselves in others and seeing like, well, if I were in that position of being underprivileged, not having opportunities, and if somebody would come to me to give that opportunity, then I would succeed in that. But you're not that other person. And
that's not to say that there aren't some people like that, but you really got to go through the funnel, right? To find those people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Interesting. And would there be anything that you would advise your kids to do differently than you did, other than spending maybe more limited time? You said like 3 to 6 months first, rather than just head first for half a decade.
Advice if going to another country, or just
Yeah, like what would you want them to do differently than you did? Like your kid comes for an advice and he or she
I mean,
says that
I think like ultimately, I think it's easiest. Well, I mean, there should be pain and suffering, but I think it's better to have a community or a team of really strong, dedicated, kind of like the Alexander Wang notion of gives a shit kind of people
yeah.
to work together on a hard problem. And it's a lot harder to get a team together that is fully aligned, committed, all that kind of stuff. That takes a long time. And there's going to be a lot of suffering and sacrifice to get to the point where you have a capable team. So I think I think it's more efficient in life, and you'll achieve a lot more in life if you can get a team together that is aligned and capable, and so you're spending more of your time on a challenging problem rather than spending a lot of your time trying to get the right team and capabilities and skills together. I think I have wasted a lot of time on the team and skill building part, and not enough time on the challenges associated with the problem we're trying to solve.
Yeah, that's very typical for any startup because you're essentially building a team out of nothing. And in your case, your founding team hadn't worked together. That was my case as well. So that creates the longer period of storming and forming.
Yeah, and then we picked a very challenging genre relative to resources we have, right? So
yes,
it's
exactly.
like, I often talk about you go to war with the army. That was the I forget the general's name, but you go to war with the army you have, not the army you want or you wish you had, right? So
yeah, that's definitely not Sun Tzu. And yeah, that's a very I feel you 100%.
So like just so this isn't all about me, it'd be good. Good to,
I think it's fun when it's all about you. I'm a podcaster. I'm used to this. I will just ask you questions for 2 hours. You'll be like, that was a great conversation.
Let's get to you. But I think like some of the topics that I have picked aren't so much about life and things like that. But maybe I'll just shift it, and maybe I can ask you some questions. So, you started a company, you sold it, you're now in family mode. And so maybe one of the questions I can ask you is, based upon your experience, and you were doing a startup, and I assume you were more in hardcore mode at that time relative to now.
Yeah.
But I think I would be interested in what were like the biggest lessons from that experience? And if you're going to do it again in the future, what would you change?
Yeah, well, let's start with the main experiences. So I came into it very, with a, how would I put it? I thought it would be much easier than it was. I think everybody does. Every first-time founder would. And I'm basing this on my experience at FunPlus, where we both worked, not at the same time, but consecutively. And what happened at FunPlus, which is, again, I've said this multiple times, but it's the best job I ever had. I think the CEO is phenomenal, and the team over there is really good. But my experience was such a positive one because 80% of the team actually came from Zynga, where I used to work before. And yes, there was that storming and forming phase as we were building new team, because even though majority of the people came from the same company, from not the same game team, but they were like from the same division, so in the same space. Nevertheless, that storming and forming phase was quite rapid. Like a couple of maybe one or two key changes in the core team, and that was it. And then we were flying. And I realized now, just having a conversation with you, is like that happens with everything. But at Zynga, it just happened while we were there. We were storming and forming for 2 years, and then we kind of kicked it off again. having had those experiences, knowing how we like to work, how we don't like to work, and essentially having that culture without anything being written. Our culture was essentially anti-Zynga. Not anti-Zynga per se as the company, but anti the way we were working as a corporation, kind of slow, everything is written, multiple reviews rather than whiteboards, conversations, and just, ship fast. So nothing against Zynga. Zynga is phenomenal, but just the way we're working was not suitable for that. So anyways, and because the formation of the studio was so quick, because we worked so incredibly efficiently, because the hiring was easy, like first tapping into my contacts, we're able to scale to a nice place. It's not quite Bangalore, like the amount of talent you have in San Francisco is at least used to be a little bit deeper than what you might have there. And then also at the same time, like a year in, FunPlus released a #1 grossing game that further kind of expanded the demand. Like it started with first people thinking that we're working for a money laundering operation to forming a line outside of our studio, just wanting to, come in for that playtest. We invited them a few months ago because now we're, banking. So having that experience, that really, really positive experience kind of led me to assume that I could do it again just as easily. And that was not the case. In our case, we also put in a lot of stupid, variables that didn't need to have there. So having a founding team that hadn't worked together for a longer period of time. Everybody had worked with each other, but not everybody had worked together. And so that was an issue. Starting 2 locations at the same time. Being fully remote, not fully remote, but kind of like forced to be remote because of COVID, unable to travel. Constantly there were like, now you can't travel, now you can't travel, now you can't travel. So between 2 different countries, Germany and Finland, that was really challenging. And then the background of people was different. We had people coming in from AAA and people coming from mobile, so there was a huge clashes over that. And it clashes in terms of like, how do you make games? Because 2 very, very different ways of building. And that storming phase and everything, like what I've learned from that is how important it is to invest into good teams and what actually a good team looks like. I don't think that many investors, even though they talk about good teams, really understand what a good team is. And that is why
they don't do any diligence on that, like zero.
They don't. They run for FOMO. They run for CVs. They say words like, "Oh, very charismatic leader," or "I just didn't." It's just so gut based, and it's not even gut based. The gut is based on somebody else's opinion. So. With all due respect towards venture capitalists, but you don't invest into teams, you invest into FOMO. So having that understanding has been fundamental. Now that I'm doing a little bit more angel investing and having more over 20 companies that I've invested into, really understanding what the team is and being able to say no based on my conviction of like, these people haven't worked together, this is too big of a risk, I don't believe this will work out. And being proven right over and over and over again by just having this experience from my past, these superstar teams that kick off and everybody's happy and they tell I'm an idiot because I didn't invest, to, talking to them, people who leave that company like 6 to 8 months later, just like, oh, it's a chaos because X, Y, and Z. I'm like, yeah, I know. And it will be like that for 2 hours and they either die or they grow from that. But anyway, so understanding what a good core team is, founding team has been my biggest learning, because it's different than in a company. In a company, you hire some people, they work or they don't, you change them around. It's more like managing a sports team. But if you have a founding team, you can't just, kick out a founder. That's a big decision. And, we just had an article about the 2-year cliff and the importance of not having debt equity, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's like once you have your founding team, those people essentially are there from this point on to at least 4 to 5 years, and then there might be some changes, but these are like your franchise players. And if your franchise players are all from different, they don't know how to play together, they're seeing the future in a little bit different way, your company is going to be fucked for good amount of time, and then you figure out or die.
Yeah.
And that has been my biggest learning, is like, what is actually a good founding team? It's not, it's not necessarily the pedigree. It's more about the time together. So I learned to value a lot of teams that have spent time together, whether, like the Israeli teams that have been in the military together, teams that have, are friends from school, teams that have brothers. I know that they're not going to most likely separate. They've gone through a lot of hard times, so they have stormed, and now they formed, and now they trust each other, and now they can be those bedrocks that will, that know how to work together, and you can build around that. So that has been probably the biggest learning. Was there another question there?
I guess so. If you were to do it differently now, is the co-founder relationship the main thing that you would try to validate, or is there something else as well that you would think about?
Yeah, so that experience has left, the co-founder experience has left a lot of, what do you call it, PTSD in me. I'm sure every founder, most of the founders you talk to will have that.
Yep.
And so even like after this, there have been, ideas and projects that would have wanted me to be a part of and set up co-founders and so forth. And the way I review this is insane. Like I'm just not jumping in to be a co-founder with anybody. We have to really be aligned on the business aspect before we can work. So what I do now is there's a lot of written documentations that we answer the same questions and then discuss how much we see difference in these things. I don't rush it at all. I'm taking time. If it breaks, then that's good. I'm actually happy that they don't go through. So co-founding aspect has been pretty the kind of thing that I would take super, super seriously, just like any business contract. That's the one. I'm not I don't get seduced by co-founding anything with anybody unless I really know those people. I respect them, and we go through that process of alignment before that.
And where are you at now with respect to, because it seems like you've kind of gone into family mode. You want to spend time with your kids while they're young. Are you open then to looking at stuff? What would it take for you to, besides a co-founder relationship, are you looking at any specific things now, or are you just going to kind of take it easy and just wait for something to come, or how are you thinking about it?
Yeah, so I work with a lot of companies, to be honest. Okay. So Deconstructor Fund is, yes, it's a media, and I have a team of, how many are it? 7 people? So there are, people involved. I'm not doing this alone. And not just only on the podcasting side. I spend most of my time working with various clients. So usually these are mid to large companies, gaming tech, government as well. So there's I work a lot with different clients, and most of these contracts that I do are fractional, so I get to be a part of the company for a longer period of time, taking usually some kind of a head position, whether that's 1 day a week up to 4 days a week. So I am quite active. I haven't joined any of these companies full time, mainly because I think the fractional role gives me a nice visibility of what working within the company is. It's almost like a longer trial run. You get to solve a lot of problems. You get to become, very close to the team, to the founders, etc. But also it's kind of because I don't have to commit to a one job. I don't need per se a job. I have several. I'm incredibly picky. Now, will I eventually join one of these companies? Yeah, 100%. But this time, the way I'm thinking is it really has to be something where I can use Deconstructor Fund platform to support it, rather than having Deconstructor Fund on the side. I've learned to really enjoy having this platform. I enjoy writing. I know you do enjoy writing as well. I love doing podcasts.
I don't really write much anymore. Most of my stuff's AI. So
Well, okay. I understand that, but you still go through it. You edit. It is your thoughts. You just make it faster with AI.
I prompt. Yeah.
Your newsletter is prompted with AI?
Yeah.
You motherfucker. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I mean, I use plenty of AI, but I don't, I don't per se prompt. I might prompt based on my notes to kind of get the first draft in, and then I
think it's gotten to a point where it's quite good. So I actually read it. I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
I'm reading my own newsletter as a new reader.
I definitely use AI, but not for that. Like I don't per se prompt it. Like I could, but I feel like I would be cheating myself. And not that, because we have plenty of content, because we have plenty of content creators, but for me, writing is a big of a learning experience. So I really do want to take my time and think about it, and then write these things. But yeah, like I might make all my notes, which is a few pages, then prompt it, then do a lot of editing, then let it sit, then come back to it, then change some aspects of it, and so forth. So there's plenty of
I guess the way that I kind of do it is like I have the transcript that's auto AI pulled out, and then that goes in, and then the AI will write that
from
thing.
the podcast.
Yeah, and then
podcast.
I just read it, and I'm like, oh, cool. I mean, so like the things that are more the essay stuff, I will write those. The AI won't write those, but like for the podcast, yeah, I'm reading it for the first time, and I'm learning stuff like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think that those are my kind of key learnings, is just being very selective, understanding what is the type of life you want to be living at this phase, not jumping to anything headfirst, which has been my first 30 years almost, 25 years, and then just taking my time. I think that's been the clear learning. Now what I don't like about what I'm doing right now is that I have too many clients. That's a problem. So I think yesterday I was just saying no to one. And it's like it's hard to say no to clients, because this is very sort of up and down. Like there might be a month where there's no clients. You're like, where did the clients go? And then there might be the next 3 months where you just don't have time to eat because there's just too much work at the same time. So maybe like that's been my issue, and that's really I think that's a pricing question. Just raise the prices until there are less clients, and focus on the ones that you work with. That actually came from a client, that idea. Okay. So that's been my focus, but my focus has been in the search of focus and not doing too much, which I'm very prone to do.
Okay.
We're talking about work, we're talking about suffering to kids and so forth, and the thing is, like, founders and high performers, if you will, often blur the line between themselves and their work. And especially this was true to me, and I think it will be true to you, is that when you're having a good day at your startup, you feel great. And when you don't have, when something is going wrong, it kind of affects you. Like the work, the way your company is going is how you're feeling. Yeah. And so I'm curious, like sometimes with these cases, like when the startup fails, you just don't lose a company. You essentially lose yourself because you're so tied to it. And in a way, you could say that the most dangerous job is the one that defines you. So the question for you that I have is that, like, if LILA becomes this $1 billion success, what will that mean to you, not professionally, but personally?
Game devs. We know that great gameplay is what players love, but integrating metagame features like challenges, progression, rewards is crucial for retention and monetization. However, coding them is a tedious and time-consuming process. That's why top studios have turned to Hero. Hero provides a complete suite of battle-tested metagame features that are quick to implement, letting you spend more time on the core gameplay experience. Ready to ship fully featured, engaging games? Check out Hero today by clicking the link below.
This podcast is brought to you by AppsFlyer. In today's digital world, understanding your app's journey from discovery to download is more than just insightful, it's essential. Enter AppsFlyer, the leader in mobile attribution and marketing analytics that allows you to measure the full potential of your marketing efforts, making every ad dollar work smarter. With AppsFlyer, that's your new reality. Dive deep into data-driven insights that reveal exactly where your users come from and how they'll interact with your app. AppsFlyer, where your app's potential meets performance.
I think, honestly, like, I obviously want that outcome, but for me, it'll be more, I think having a financial success, like, so I personally don't spend much money, regardless. Like, you know, I mean, I work all the time. I rarely watch any movies. I play a game or two. I don't really spend much money at all. So, like, for me, like, having a big success for this company would mainly just be an ego thing, but also a proxy for we've done something important or valuable. So I think if we're able to make a company that that creates a lot of products that people love, then I would be proud of that. I'm already proud of some of the things that we've done here where we have, I mean, it takes a lot of iterations, but we have some people here who have dramatically improved. I'm proud of that. I think the financial success of LILA, if it makes, like the money part, I won't be able to spend that money just because I just don't spend money that much.
Yeah.
But it would be a pride thing for sure. I mean, I like to think that I'm humble, but I do think if something like that, if we had that kind of outcome, I don't think it would really change my lifestyle, but I think I would probably, it'd be an ego thing. More than anything else, which is maybe good or bad. I don't know, but of course I would love that, and it would be good for my ego. I'm not.
But what do you mean an ego thing? Like what do you?
Well,
do you
just
mean
like I have I made $1 billion company. Look at me.
So the game maker's email comes next time and it says, "I told you so," or like never doubt. That's
Things
it.
like that. Yeah. That's more of it. Yeah. I mean, I'm just being honest. It'd be an ego thing.
No.
Wouldn't really change my lifestyle much. But, of course, but then it'd also hopefully be like validation and proxy for having created some value in the world. So, I think that would be it, really.
Interesting. It's I've talked to some founders who had good exits, and I rarely talk about this, but I remember talking to one of my friends, and he asked me kind of like, "Did anything change for you?" I was like, "No," and then he's like, "Yes, right? Nothing. Like nothing changes." And I think we put in so much sort of a hope and dreams into those situations that it keeps us going. Like once that exit happens, like then everything is going to change and everything's going to be this and that, whatever we hope for. But in reality, I don't think much changes actually. Like we're just being ourselves. And kind of like regarding that, I wanted to, I don't know if this
I will
is too
say,
personal.
just being real, there are some friends I have where a financial outcome has changed them a lot.
In what sense?
One, I would say in some cases they think they're the expert on everything. You check their social media, it's like Hawaii, Vegas, Hawaii, Vegas, Hawaii, Vegas. It's just like, there's one guy who just disappeared. He's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happened? He's just gone.
Oh, he's sleeping in Egyptian cotton. You know how hard it is to rise up from that and grind.
I'm not sure if the typical scenario, if you have a major commercial outcome, would be nothing changes. I'm sure it is like maybe for some people it would be that.
Well, let's say it's not a major, like it's not like 100 mil or more, but it's more like, in a single digit.
Right.
Millions.
Yeah. The dude that disappeared's a Bitcoin guy. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like that's yeah, of course. I know a couple of those. I was mainly talking about maybe like a single digit where it's like, it's,
yeah, I think with that, I mean, single digit.
It's not private jet money.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I guess it just depends on the person and depends on, probably the scale of it might change the situation.
Do you think that success, that ego boost of success of let's say LILA is that $1 billion company, do you think that will fill, I don't know, if the same hole you kind of talked about, like not being at home and not talking to your kids, would that help to fill that hole or that sacrifice?
I don't think a commercial outcome would do it, because I think that if I feel, and I kind of talked about this before, but one of the reasons why I even started this company was based upon the Clayton Christensen essay, How Will You Measure Your Life? And so I would still view it as, okay, end of I imagine myself on my deathbed looking back, what would would I feel proud of the life that I lived and the accomplishments that I've had? So if I had a commercial outcome, but I didn't do anything with it, I'd still feel like I need to do something. So then I'd probably try to deploy that cash in some way to do something.
I think you'd still work as hard as ever.
I'd probably still work hard. But it would depend. Like right now, like coming off of the last, I'm almost coming up on 5 years of this. So I would say, if I had a commercial outcome like right now, I'd probably take a break and then kind of recommit. But I can't go 7 days for. There's only, everyone has their own specific break points, but yeah, I'd probably take a little bit of a break before coming back in.
I have this weird thing. I've probably never told about this to anybody. So we have in our house we have this sort of like a lofty thing. Yeah. So it's a loft, and when we bought the house, it had this like full on like a gaming setup on the loft. So it's almost like a living gaming room. The guy had built it, and it's like above the living room. So it's really cool. And I was like, damn. And I was in the startup mode. I'm like, damn it, like we're gonna buy this house, and when we finally exit the company, I will spend time here just playing games and just just enjoying, because I don't have time to play a console. And I shit you not, I never played a console there even after, like never. And it's kind of crazy. We're selling the house right now. So that's also some of the things where I'm thinking about, like, nothing changed. I even got a console for free with a ton of games, and I never played it in that place, which is one of the reasons why I bought the entire house.
I see.
It's like the work never ends. Like you are what you are, and just worked as hard as ever, and took no breaks.
Well, let me ask you a question then related to this, since we're going deep and philosophical. I was going to talk about a lot of tactical company problems. Is that okay? So let me ask you that same question. If you were, like, imagine you're on your deathbed, Mishka, and you're looking back on your life, what would you say you're most proud of, or what do you think you could do from now to make you feel that you're proud of your life?
Yeah. This is nothing new. I actually do this almost I almost do this on daily basis. I have this
really?
meme that I found.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, you were in grind mode. I had this meme that I saw on Instagram. There was a tombstone, and on the tombstone it read, "He worked really hard." And the whole idea, I think the way I read it is like, that's, like you want to leave a little bit more than people saying that you work like a madman. And I kind of judge my days based on that now. Like yesterday was not a good day for me. I worked really, really hard, almost a whole day. Took a little break to watch our eldest one, the younger one. And then again, I worked till midnight and felt like that was a shitty day because I didn't have the control of my own life or my own schedule. I was doing with others, and even when I was present with my kids, I wasn't present. And so I deemed that as a bad day, even though in terms of works, it was a productive day. So sorry, what was the question? Like I kind of drifted away.
Yeah, I guess I was asking if you were to imagine yourself on your deathbed, looking
on
back.
the deathbed, yeah. And so okay, so that's where I'm going. Thank you for reminding. And so, kind of portraying that a little bit more. Something that I worked with a therapist with, also that I used is, I think it's important to have the bucket list thing, the things that you want to do. And for me, like when I was doing that, they were quite simple. And a lot of them had to do with stuff you're doing with friends, with the places you want to visit. There are achievements that you want to do, and I've definitely been doing a good progress against those. But I have done a poor progress in terms of spending time with friends, especially with the busy life. And so for me, it's almost like the ending has to be the same way as I view a perfect day. And a perfect day for me, I think we talked with Brett Novak about this. Like we have a exact same perfect day. Like we want to work a little bit, even though it's a weekend or whatnot. Perfect day for me is wake up early when nobody is out, and I can make my big pot of coffee and I can do some work. Usually writing for me, whether I'm writing stuff for a client, whether I'm writing something for Deconstructor Fun, some of my thoughts kind of spend 3-4 hours on really focused work. Then I like to spend time with my family. I like to spend time working out, and I like to spend again more time with the family, kind of finishing up the day, watching a movie. Like we watched Minecraft movie, first time watching a movie as four of us in like 4 years, because our eldest is old enough now. But that is sort of a perfect day for me, and the way I would extrapolate it to my whole life, I want it to be balanced. And I know that people talk about work-life balance, like you need to achieve balance in every day, and I know that that is not the way it works. There are days when you need to work a lot more where you don't have balance, like yesterday, and then there are days when you kind of figure out that balance where you're spending the whole day with the family, and then you're going with your other friends and doing activities, and now that's a different type of thing. And so in my deathbed, I wish I could have a more balanced experience where I worked enough, achieved enough of those things, left the industry better than when I came to it. And I think what we both are doing is helpful for that. We're sharing a lot of information, a lot of insights, and I at least have been gotten over a decade people coming to me and saying thank you, because of DOF I got the job or got this or got that. So that's a positive thing. But I also want to be loved by my friends and by my family, and I don't want to sacrifice that for more admiration from people who I don't know, who I've never met, who might say a nice thing once in a comment section or at an event. Like that is not nearly as important. And so now where I'm at is, in order to have a meeting with me, like, dude, the way I'm viewing things is like, this is away from my time with my 4-year-old. So is this meeting really that important? And so that's how I've cleared really a lot of my evenings and everything. And I know that this is just a phase, and the next phase will come when they're a little bit older and their dad is not cool anymore. And then I'm going to be, again, super focused on achieving career goals and marriage goals and so forth. So I've sacrificed a lot, and that sacrifice has not been mine alone, and my wife has had to take a lot of it as well. Mm-hmm. So, the same kind of crazy shit that you've probably done is like working on holidays, waking up early, doing things, and kind of putting stress on others because of your work. And I want to, and I've been able to pay that back actually quite a lot. I've worked from home, which I don't enjoy, for 2 years already. Just giving my wife ability to go to her office every day. That has helped her a lot. Spending more time with kids, taking them to practices and so forth. So I've been able to rebalance, and I want that to be my goal, where I was able to, when you would do the audit on my life, there's a balance. There were phases where I worked too much. There were phases where I worked too little, but spent too much time with.
So you want to have a good family life, but also create some value for other people. But you want to kind of do both, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to be the type of guy whose kids don't know him. I don't want to be the type of guy who doesn't have friends, just colleagues. I don't want to be the guy who doesn't have a wife. I don't want to be the guy who's a loser at work but has everything else either. And that is a hard balance, and I'm not saying you can achieve that on daily basis, and I'm saying that you can't actually. And that's why I consider life in phases. And I think it's good to understand that this is the type of phase, and I try to repeat that to myself. I'm not saying that I get this, but I try to repeat to myself, like, hey man, like don't take too much on, because you're in a different phase. And I fail at that oftentimes, where I have too much work, and then that causes the PTSD to flare up with my wife and others. Like, you're constantly working, and then I have to sit her down, like, no, I'm not. Look at my calendar. Like, I've gotten away from that, but that's really the point. And kind of going through my stupid bucket list. Like, I have shit there that are very achievable, and it's like, well, why don't you just do it? And it's like, well,
All right. So can I add one nuance here, and let me get your take on this? So I actually have, so compared to you, I'm a little bit different, because like for me, I'm viewing life more from the perspective of like my high score. Okay, if you imagine life as a game, and we're probably in a simulation, I think, right? But like, and so for me, the score is what value did I create? And right now, I honestly don't think I've got a very high score. So
why?
I want to get that up. Well, number of reasons, but I guess the other nuance I wanted to add here is like, when I think about, like, even if I wanted, I think the pressure that I'm also feeling right now when it comes to, when we think about work and balance, is that I believe, and you may disagree with me on this, but if AI, we can't have a conversation without talking about AI, but if super intelligence is for real, and who knows, a lot of people think it is, then is this the last chance for us to work hard? And two, if AI is for real, the other thing I think is that within the next 2 years, there's going to be a massive distribution between the haves and have-nots. It's going to be parallel distribution. And that if you don't grind now over the next 2 years, you're going to either be a winner with AI or you're going to be a loser without AI. What do you think of that perspective?
I think it's like, you remember when blue-collar workers were losing their jobs, and motherfuckers in cities were like, oh, just learn to code, And they were like, no big deal. This is how the economy changed. Like, maybe we just don't need this type of job. Like, yeah, there's robots and automation and stuff like that. And we didn't make a big deal out of that. We just let people suffer. And now that white collars are losing their job because of AI and blue collars are not, then suddenly this is the end of the world as we know it. It's like, meanwhile, the blue collar is like, yeah, AI is pretty cool. Like, I can, do my travel plans. So I think we are going through a major change in how white collar employees do their work. People like ourselves. I've seen mainly positive impact from AI in my line of work. I'm sure you as well. Anything from podcast editing to writing to consulting work has been made much simpler.
Yeah.
allowing us to be more productive and generate more revenue. So it has been quite productive. But I view it as any kind of, I don't believe in this, like now is the 2 years where you need to grind. Grind for what? Like if you don't know what the future is, how can you get ahead of things? And so, yeah, I'm teaching my kids to do manual labor. That's what I'm like. Oh, my girl is not too. My eldest is not too great in math. Like she's now in Taekwondo camp and she's phenomenal in sports. I'm like, yes, this is something that AI will not be able to do. Let's gymnastics, AI. I'm like, you like doing hair, girl? Oh my god. Because if you're, it's. Sounds like a safe profession. If it was a boy, I would teach. Talking about plumbing and stuff
I'm
like
seriously
that.
considering like maybe trying to like own a cafe or restaurant or something.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Yeah, because AI won't compete against you.
Yeah,
And,
seems like blue collar work is the way to go. Again, not thinking about too much future, but it has made it easier. Even with kids, I'm not that stressed that she's not the best in academia. I'm super happy that she's really great in arts and craft and sports. Like that's amazing. You like working with your hands, you have a bright future ahead of you. And that would be different maybe a decade ago. I'm like, oh, we need to hire a tutor for math. I'm like, no, we don't. That's useless.
yeah, it's hard to say. I do think one of the things now is that there's just so much uncertainty, right? Like,
Yeah. And that's why,
even
what
with
are you
blue collar
grinding
work,
for?
right?
Like,
If Elon's successful with Optimus, there's not going to be any blue collar work either, right?
yeah.
So.
So I'm. What is this? Is this stoicism where you think and worry about the things you can impact, and you just don't think about things you have no impact over? I think it's the same thing here. I wish I would be watching less news as well, because I've somehow is like super entertained by especially geopolitics, and then I'm thinking about like, oh, I wonder if this country has a future now because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, why do you even think about that? Just fucking let it go. Don't watch news. Don't read bullshit about AI, how it's, we're all in simulation, or it's going to take our jobs, or it's going to do this. It's like you're just creating these worries that you have no impact over. So I'd like to be more of a reactive than proactive in getting ahead of something I don't even know.
Okay. Yeah, I think what I've been doing is just learning as much as I can and studying and being very active with tools, and then we're building a bunch of stuff with AI now. But
yeah, of course. I mean, we are as well. Like we launched one AI product and kind of like, it was okay, but then we're pivoting to another thing. Within DOF, like we're actually doing stuff around AI. So it's not, again, I don't think it's being proactive. It's more being reactive on what's there in the market and building against that. But at the same time, like, how was it, Meta conference speaking and Google as well, they're all labeling me as like anti-AI just because I'm not foaming out of mouth there and talking about how everybody needs to work with AI right now. For them, it makes sense. Their whole business is about now selling AI products. And they can't, for the life of God, tell them what benefits is there right now for the companies other than incremental. So they're using fear-mongering to force companies to adopt AI to figure out what is the best case to use the products that they're selling. That's essentially it. And it's working. So good on them. I'm being very reactive, really looking at what's there, trying different things, and not trying to get ahead of something I don't know. As they say in the army, never be the first or the last. It's key. It still works in business.
all right.
Yeah. So I got one question for you.
Sure.
Final one.
Okay.
So you've written or had AI write.
I think
very
the
openly.
personal essay stuff I
Yeah.
write, but I'm actually going to take that out of my newsletter. I'm just going to go more podcast stuff on the Game Makers
Why?
newsletter. Well, I'm gonna start a different newsletter and then just keep my personal stuff separate.
Okay, so either or, you've written and spoken quite openly about the founder journey, about the hard times. You have videos that are quite raw. So what are something personal you haven't shared about how lonely it has been or how difficult the role of a startup CEO has been?
What have I not shared?
Something personal.
I will say, like, you can't see stress. And I do think stress really messes you up a lot. And sometimes there are, like, I do think, so one, I'll share something, I'll share two things personal. Why not? Fuck it. So one, do you remember when Silicon Valley Bank went down?
Mm-hmm.
So we had all of our money in Silicon Valley Bank. Everything. And when it went down, I remember I called my wife and I told her, we lost all our money.
Oh, like your family money?
No, our company money. So I called her from India and I'm like, hey, we had all our money in Silicon Valley Bank. And I said,
she was just finally.
And I told her, I'm so glad, and I'm ready to come home now. And I was really happy.
I can imagine. Somebody put the quit button for you.
And then I think that then after that, the day that, because for me it was like, well, the investors have entrusted with this money. I have to see this through. But when I thought Silicon Valley Bank went down, it's like, okay, I can just close this down.
You lost, and it wasn't your fault.
And I was happy.
I know.
So that's one. The second thing is, as I was mentioning about stress, I mean, it does have a lot of physical impacts. I remember it was like, I will say there are a lot of things that you just can't, I don't know. I do think stress has a way of impacting you in like really weird ways. So there was like this week, this was like probably towards the end of last year, and I was in India, and I remember like for 2 weeks, and I mean, I don't want to sound like a wuss, but like for like 2 to 5 minutes every day, I would just cry for like almost 2 weeks. I don't know what was going on, but it was like so much stress or something was going on. It was fucking me up. So like, and I was like, what is going on? But I'd just be walking and then I just start crying for a few minutes. And I was like, what? And then it'd stop. So I do think like, I feel like, there are, to the point on suffering, it can, when it does lead to stress, it can have, a dramatic impact, I think, on your health, on your emotions, things like that.
Emotions especially.
Yeah.
Mental health is huge.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say, this year I feel a lot, trust me, I got problems up the ass still. but it's
because of the coffee enemas you've been doing.
But I do feel a lot better, and I have reduced my level of stress.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've reduced fully. We still have a lot of problems and things like that. But stress is a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know if I told anybody this either. I remember this was at Gamescom. It was a startup mode, and I had panic attack several nights. I didn't know it was a panic attack. So what was happening is I would wake up in the middle of the night and there was insane chest pain, like a chest muscle pain.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a heart, but chest muscle. And I couldn't sleep because it was just like fucking killing me. And I would stretch in the middle of a night, and I was like, what the fuck is going, like, did I do bench press wrong or something? I was like, I don't know. Like, I would wake up several nights in the middle of a night with insane chest pain, and I was Googling the shit, and it was under panic attack. And I was going through some crazy stress, and it was just causing those kind of things. Like, I had panic attacks because of stress. I never would have, and so kind of like both of our experiences, I'm pretty vocal on LinkedIn to motherfuckers that are encouraging others to be founders and entrepreneurs. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is not a rosy road. It's so crazy to even, oh, just go for it. You could do it. Anybody, shut the fuck up. Like, you're putting people on such an insane roller coaster of shit. For what? And it's also equally bad when women some women on LinkedIn are just like, blaming that they don't get to take part in this fucking horrific shit show known as startup culture, where 99% of companies fail. You lose your health, you lose your wealth, you lose everything, you lose your relationships. It's like, we want to be a part of that too. It's just like, no, you don't. And you're the smart one. That's why there's there's so little amount of women in this shit, because they are smart. Men are stupid. That's what they do. Men climb on a mountain that has nothing on top, and you may very well die by doing it. And they're like, that sounds like a thing I need to be doing right now. like that's, don't mean to be misogynist. Like, I talk about this with my wife, and she's like so happy to be an executive at a tech company rather do this bullshit. And when people tell her like, hey, you should do a founders, she's like, shut the fuck up. I know exactly what it is. I'm super happy where I'm at. Like, I don't need that nonsense.
So does that mean you're not going to go back in, or will you, or I thought you were going to kind of orient more towards investment? Is that? Yeah.
I am. I am doing that.
Okay.
It's been taking a little bit longer than expected, and the market has definitely shifted. But that's definitely has been one of the focus area that I'm building towards. I am going to be in company building. 100%. I'm that type of a stupid that I need to do this again. And it's ludicrous, and I don't recommend it to anybody. I'm like a rabbi, where somebody trying to, convert, I'm like, are you fucking nuts? Get the fuck out of here. Like, this is the worst religion you can find. so the same thing. And then if you try over and over and over again, I'm like, okay, it seems like you have something here. Let's work with this. And this way I'm probably going through this, the next phase as well. It's like I'm looking at a bunch of options, working on some of them, seeing where it leads. But I'm not in the phase where I believe you have to suffer to succeed. I've been watching a lot of these like sports documentaries. The quarterbacks has been phenomenal, by the way. I don't know anything about American football, but quarterbacks has been amazing on Netflix. And what you can see with the people, and actually they did a study on tennis players, and they found out that the top 25 compared to the top 100 eat the same, train the same, equal effort, everything is the same. But the way they approach the game is different. The top 25, when they fail, they're like, God damn it. All right, let me see what's going to happen in the next match or in the next ball. And the ones who are not in 25 kind of get broken down by the success. And they're so, holding the bat hard and kind of need to succeed and super aggressive and really focused. And I think that sort of approach where you let it come naturally is really important. That's what I wanted to happen in my next endeavor as well. The same as it happened in Fun Plus, where it felt natural. It felt that everything was clicking, and felt that we could do anything. There was very little interpersonal bullshit, and it was all about solving the problems that exist in the product. That's the way I want to work. So with very like-minded people, focusing on profitable growth over venture-backed insanity.
All right. Well, I guess with that, Mishka, this is not the direction I thought this conversation was going to go, but
it never
it's
is.
all good. And, I definitely wish you good luck on, it sounds like what even ahead of the opportunity and the things that you're finding is probably finding, as you mentioned before, the right co-founding team and having that chemistry together. If anyone's listening to this and wants to, hook up with Mishka
I'll be honest, I don't have time. Like, you can hook up, you can email me. I work with several companies. And if I don't know you, I'm not going to start a company with you, just to be clear. Okay. So there's no chance in hell of that happening. So it's working with the ones that I have, and you never know. I might join a company that has already passed the early stages and the scaling, just because I was able to deliver them a lot of value. I believe in what they're doing, and yeah, that could happen. So that's why I am Fractional. It allows me to work with a bunch of different teams and help them, and as well help myself to find my path. But for you, I wish also all the best, whether that is success of this game, failure of this game, and success of the next one because your back is against the wall, or whether even if it's the ending, as you said, you were happy when you lost your money for a while because that allowed you to walk away. I know exactly how you feel, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. It is an insanely difficult path, and I wish that at the end of the path, on your deathbed, as you always like to be very, very, like, I've never, the deathbed sounds so crazy, but at the end, you'd be happy with what you achieved as a professional, but also as a father. And I think you are incorrect when you say that you haven't given enough back. I think you have. I think you continue to do. Your newsletter is very good. You share very insightful information. You employ a lot of people. What's there not that you're not giving back? So I think you should reconsider what you've done.
I appreciate that. I'm still trying, still fighting, and until the next time. We'll do another, I don't know how many this was, 2x2, 3x3. We'll do something.
It was just a podcast.
Yeah, just have a casual conversation.
Exactly. You sent me the AI prompted question. I was like, Joe, we're not doing this. We are not doing this. We're having a podcast.
Awesome. All right,
Joe.
Okay.
Have a great time in good old Bangalore. Never coming there. I don't know. Maybe I might. But we'll see one day. Yeah, I'm just not into, stomach flus and shitting my pants. So, all right. No offense, my Indian friends.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You did it. You made it to the end of the episode. As a fan of the show, it would help us out if you'd subscribe and leave us a review on the podcast service of your choice. Those stars and likes, while a small action on your part, mean a lot to us and help to grow the show. More importantly, are you a member of the Deconstructor of Fun Slack group? If you have 5 years or more of games industry experience, go to deconstructoroffun.com/Slack and apply to join. Join the games industry best professional community filled with peers always willing to lend a hand, or subscribe to our newsletter to get all the latest insights from the Deconstructor of Fun content creators. Thanks for listening.